Hey everyone, this is Tim from Anything Goes, and I'm just wanting to put this in here just as a little editorial or editor's note, I should say. The reason why I'm putting this in here is because a little after 4 minutes into the podcast, there'll be a little bit of a static sound that comes in. This happened before during Sebastian and I's first podcast for Wizards of Oz, which we are going to get around to redoing, I promise you. But it's prevalent throughout the rest of the podcast until the very end, and I did not realize it. I had my headphones in, yet I still didn't hear it. I could hear Dakota and I having the conversation, but not the actual static coming from the recording. I have gotten an external recorder since, and this problem should not come up anymore since I'm not recording straight into the computer unless all else fails. So I'm putting this in here just as a warning to let you know, I know the sound may be annoying, but Dakota and I feel like there's so much genuine feelings or there's so much creativity and description of how our feelings towards this movie is and the James Bond franchise overall that it would be kind of hard to replicate. So if you can't take it and you don't want to listen to it after 4 minutes in, that's all up to you. I'm just putting this in here as a heads up. And Tim from the past, take it away. Welcome to Anything Goes, the best geek and pop culture podcast broadcasting from Long Island, New York. I'm your host, Timothy Rooney. Sorry that it's been a few weeks since the last episode of Anything Goes to go up. The last episode you've heard is the Halloween commentary that I did with my friend Mike, available on SoundCloud, which was released on October 31st, 2015. Now, with the recent release of James Bond's Spectre, my friend, who I'm sitting with today, and I decided to do a review of the movie Skyfall. If you're looking at the title of the podcast, you know it's that. Who am I speaking to today?
Dakota Wiegand.
Hi, Dakota.
Hi, Tim.
Sorry that if I'm yelling a little bit, is because we have only one microphone because the original recorder that the past few weeks I've been using was not mine and it's gone belly up to begin with. But I bought a new recorder. It should be here within the few days, so the audio quality will go back to being like those episodes in just a little time. So bear with us. And let's take a trip back to the 50th anniversary of James Bond. All right. Before we can get into the movie itself, I think we should do a little history about us with the James Bond franchise. Now, when did you become a fan of James Bond in the first place?
Oh, I was a little kid.
Okay.
My dad, I believe, rented Dr. No on...
Do you know for sure?
It was either it was a Sean Connery movie. Mm-hmm. Dr. No or From Russia with Love.
Okay.
And we watched that on DVD. Right when it first came out. This was like 2001, 2002.
Okay.
So I was in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first one. I really got into it. And then I became a fan of Roger Moore. And then quickly grew well out of Roger Moore.
Ooh, yes.
And, just love the series ever since.
I remember my cousin Terrence was big into James Bond. Still is big into James Bond. And I remember his dad, my Uncle Dennis, he ended up getting him the VHS box set of the movies up until that time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and and then replaced it with DVDs when they finally came out. I don't know if he's bought the Blu-ray set, but him being into it, and then also our granddad being a fan of cinema in general, just fueled our passion for it. So how many conversations we've had about James Bond, even before you and I were friends, like when I was a little kid, just talking about James Bond. And that's one of those subjects. When we first became friends, like James Bond would come up and that just spewed on for hours of our dissection of the franchise in itself.
Right.
And now, before Skyfall, there was 2 other Daniel Craig movies that came out. Yes. Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace.
Right.
Now, after Die Another Day in 2002, that's Pierce Brosnan's last James Bond movie, the series kind of went quiet for a while after that 40th anniversary, realizing we may have screwed up a little bit.
Yes, which prompted them to immediately fire Pierce Brosnan and
Yes,
start looking.
maybe I shouldn't be working here. Sorry.
And yeah, they started looking to revamp the series somehow
Because The Bourne Identity came out the same year.
and destroyed it.
Yeah, no, and it's like one of those things that, like, if you could point to a movie that changed the genre, like, it's like one of those tentpole movies, like, Bourne Identity did change the spy genre irrevocably afterwards.
Yeah,
And, which I know you're a fan of as well.
I love the trilogy. Never seen the Legacy. Kind of don't want to.
We may end up reviewing the Bourne movies building up to the next one that's coming out that Matt Damon is doing.
Yes. With
So,
Tommy Lee Jones, by the way.
well, because Tommy Lee Jones is just fantastic and everything he's
Can't
in.
wait!
Except, like, you could argue maybe Batman Forever is not a really good performance from him, but
It was a paycheck movie.
totally. He just won the Oscar, so of course he was totally doing the paycheck
He
movie.
needed to redo his bathroom.
Yeah.
I want to play baseball in my bathroom right now. Well, I gotta put on this purple makeup? Okay, I'll go do it just for that paycheck.
I'll wear the makeup in the outhouse, doghouse, and flophouse, where I'll be for this next movie. Now, 2006, James Bond comes back with Daniel Craig, the first blonde Bond.
And he can't swim, by the way.
He can't swim?
No, that was one of the big issues when they did the reveal of him on in London. He came in on like one of those black speedboats
With a life jacket on, right?
Yeah, and he was also tethered to the boat because he can't swim.
Well, I know that they wouldn't let him on the boat without the life jacket.
Right.
That's one of the rules anyway, especially with the how much insurance they would probably have to get for him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That the Broccoli family, the Wilsons, like the ones who run Eon.
Mm-hmm.
But really, he can't swim,
and he suffers from vertigo. So when he was in Casino Royale, when he did all that, like in the opening chase scene, all the scaffolding and stuff,
right?
They were really worried about him because he would just go kind of like off balance.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's something like you kind of bring up in your casting process, like maybe you'll highlight that before
that whole scene. Most of the scenes were actually done 6 feet off the ground.
Yeah, and it's like forced perspective to make it look, as well as CGI extensions.
Yes, but he did most of his own stuff.
And Casino Royale comes out and knocks it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I saw it in theaters. Die Another Day was the first one I saw in theaters. That's the first James Bond movie I saw in theaters.
Right.
I don't think I saw that, nor it's in Casino Royale. In my top 5 Bond movies, it's still my favorite Daniel Craig Bond.
I agree.
And it was followed up with Quantum of Solace.
Right, which I did see Quantum of Solace in the theater.
How was that experience?
I left in this theater, I guess, because I didn't like the movie.
Right.
So I left kind of in the theater. It didn't help.
Okay. Not even like the loud sound of the movie
No,
itself.
because it was so like the pacing and also just the action driven. It's like, oh my god, this is annoying.
I remember the first time I watched it, I was up at school, and I had ordered food with our friend Justin, and like it took like forever to get there and stuff like that. And I was like I hadn't eaten anything all day, so I was kind of like already feeling a little woozy. And then the action set pieces of that movie just made my headache even worse. And I'm like, oh, this is not helping. Where's my food? Why is that spinning? And I'm just like, why is this going that guy's not a great villain? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, Casino Royale was so story-driven and not so much action-driven. Meanwhile, Quantum of Solace was the complete opposite, where it was action-driven, not story-driven.
But it's one of the things that was highlighted that it was written during the writer's strike. Mm-hmm. And so and plus, like, whenever there's time in between movies,
right,
they usually work on this. That's why I think GoldenEye is as strong as it is, because there's 6 years in between, or 7 years. No, 6 years, because it came out, License to Kill came out in 89.
Right.
So there's 6 years to punch up that script for Pierce Brosnan. You compare that to Tomorrow Never Dies, which was immediately rushed into production.
Yeah.
Even though I do enjoy Tomorrow Never Dies, and I don't mind it.
Tomorrow Never Dies was in Hong Kong, or was
yes?
Okay, yeah.
It's sad that you have to. It's a sad thing on the movie's part that you have to.
Well, with Pierce Brosnan, after GoldenEye, they all blur together.
That's his words as well.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember GoldenEye. I don't remember the rest. I'm just gonna be a dick towards my old bosses, which is a theory in there coming to Skyfall that we'll get to Skyfall in a moment. So Quantum of Solace does decent money. It makes its money back and everything like that, but doesn't critically as well as the fans are concerned not as good as Casino Royale.
Yeah.
So the Eon's like, all right, the 50th anniversary is coming up. Let's wait. Let's sit on it until the next one comes out. Skyfall is released to almost unanimous praise. Did great at the box office.
Right.
Now, for those who are listening right now, let's do a brief synopsis on the movie itself.
Okay, so James Bond starts off. James Bond just
here it goes. I was in a Chevy and I changed lanes without signaling. I changed lanes and I did it almost speeding.
Plus, I have unpaid parking tickets.
Like, woo! Please be gentle.
Okay, so James Bond is in Morocco?
Yes.
He's in Morocco, and one of the agents who was carrying a file with important information on it gets killed. Bond chases the guy down. However, his new partner, which we learned is Moneypenny, shoots him off a train.
Accidentally,
because M was like, shoot him! Shoot him! And he goes, they think he's dead.
Cue Adele song. That's
Cue
not
Adele
hello.
Song. A couple years later, someone is now posting the...
3 months later.
3 months later,
Three months later.
Is posting the identities of all the MI6 agents that are linked in terror groups, the undercover terror groups. MI6 gets blown up. James Bond comes back from the dead. And then the plot goes, okay, find the guy who's doing all this stuff so we can get the files back and to protect the identities of all these MI6 agents. He goes, finds the guy, reveals that the guy was also an old MI6 agent that M decided to let die.
Yeah.
So the guy,
he was abandoned.
He was abandoned, which is now driving the whole story where he wants to kill M because he's been abandoned.
Yes. And so if you take the plot from Mission Impossible 1 with the knock list of all the names of the secret agents undercover, you take GoldenEye where it's a former MI6 agent begrudging against his former employees, and you take a little bit of Home Alone and you throw it at the end when they're setting up traps to defend themselves in James Bond's old house, you get Skyfall.
Okay.
And I do love it. I do like the movie.
I liked the movie until you started doing this to me. And it's like, wow.
No, but I have to
ruin.
I have to credit Honest Trailers because they took the Home Alone music when Kevin's getting ready and put it on the footage of M and everybody prepping the house, and
that was an awesome scene, though.
Oh no, it totally broke the mold of what the usual third act is of a James Bond movie, which I give him an A for effort with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you see this in theaters?
No.
Really? Huh. I remember it was the first time in a while. I remember I saw it in theaters. I went by myself because I'm a sad, lonely person like that sometimes. And movie ends, 50th anniversary logo comes up, James Bond return, standing applause from everybody. I'm leaving the theater, and I look to my right, and there's people lined up against the wall next to the theater. I'm like, I see neighbors of mine down, a few people down. I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're waiting to see Skyfall. And I'm like, really? And this is like a little over a week since it's been out. Mm-hmm. And people are still lined up to see it. And I'm like, I was like, whoa. Okay, I haven't seen anything like this. And this is around the time Dark Knight Rises. So like, all right, this is a big deal right now. Everybody's really pumped to see it. Now, what is your knee-jerk reactions to this movie? How do you feel after you first saw it?
When I first saw it, I thought it was possibly one of the best Bond movies they've ever made.
Yes, and I will put it in the top 10. Maybe not top 5, but I'll put it in the top 10.
Okay, yes. I put it in my top 5.
Right.
But, it's in my top 5. But my first thing was I would put it as a number 2 spot. My knee-jerk reaction after seeing it the first time.
Right. Behind...
From Russia with Love.
From Russia with Love. Okay.
What about you?
Once I first saw it, I'm like, I really, really enjoyed it. And now, since I do like movies shot on film, and I do like things shot on digital. And Roger Deakins, who is a 10-time Oscar nominated for Best Cinematography, not won any yet Academy. Please just give him an Oscar so he'd at least have that. Don't give him an honorary one because, like, hey, we love you, but didn't think you were good enough these 10 times. He photographed it, like, Roger Deakins from, like, most of Coen Brothers movies from, like, Barton Fink onward, the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, Shawshank Redemption, and a myriad of others.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the second feature he shot on Ares Alexa, which is now the high-end cinema camera and now TV camera, because you look at IMDb, how many shows are shot on the Alexa, it's huge. It's become the standard. But with him having that tool there, my eye couldn't tell the difference between film and digital. And that's when it was a turning point, me in the theater, from the very first shot, and when, like, James Bond comes out in the background, out of focus, and he had that music cue, like, dun-dun! And he slowly walks towards camera into the foreground, coming into focus, and he has that eye light just lighting him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a very pretty picture, isn't it? Yeah. And it goes on to be, and I especially love when he's in, what was it, Beijing?
Yes.
And when he's going in on the boat and all the vibrant colors, and even, like, the cold colors near the end in these, at Skyfall itself.
Yeah.
Now,
go
on.
But your knee-jerk reaction, I remember talking to you about this after the movie came out, and your initial criticisms are actually more negative about the movie.
Yeah, because I had kind of... I realized something about myself as of late. Fans really ruin things for me.
Right.
If somebody talks something up to me, my initial reaction is like, I don't want anything to be a part of that. It's the one hipster-isms that I have about myself. Like, you gotta see this! I'm not gonna see it. Let me discover it on my own. That's why I eventually came around to, like, it's not too bad. Like,
currently, people, Tim is on an anti-Deadpool rant right now.
That's not going to change. Unless maybe somebody puts a gun in my head and makes me watch the Ryan Reynolds movie in February. And it's funny because a friend of mine, she interviewed me, and it's like, is there anything you don't like about the comic book, like, genre? Like, fucking Deadpool! And I was like, and I went on a 5-minute rant, and I'm like, I kind of felt bad for her, because she just probably just listening on the other side of the Skype call, like, okay. like, I'm sorry, I just had a mental breakdown there. and it's Deadpool itself is, like, even the character I don't find that interesting. It's the fans like, he's funny because he breaks the fourth wall. Yeah. No, like, that's why whenever I watch, like, panels at any Comic-Con, I always turn it off when it goes to the Q&A. Because I can't stand most people like that, because I'm like, most of them are very, like, will you, like, sign me to DC Comics, and I have good stories, and I love you, Jim Lee. So, fans ruin things for me. Like, like people say, like, watch Game of Thrones, and I'm like, maybe when it's over, I'll eventually get around to it.
Yeah, I'm on that boat too, but no.
And like, I know I was negative coming out of it, because it was talked up way before I saw it.
Yeah, well, I remember talking to you about certain things, and, like, yes, if you really think back towards Skyfall, some of the action scenes, especially when the villain's trying to get to M in London at her trial, or
like, she's, like, before a committee, justifying her actions and trying to defend herself, which I have problems with that, even that part of the sequence itself.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, you're putting other people's lives at risk, just so you can save face. I think they would understand the fact that, like, sure, it may hurt your case, it may make you look incompetent, but you have, like, 60 people in there, and you want their blood in your hands along with those MI6 agents, and you're going to let your pride dictate that? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, it's a very prideful person.
Yes, and that's probably a character flaw that justifies that scene, but I feel like I would have made the decision, like, excuse me, madam, there's a terrorist who caused that explosion that I'm being accused of coming here, and he's going to kill me and probably anybody else who gets in the way. So, do you want to do this on Tuesday instead?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and your biggest thing was the exact plot points of how he
gets away.
And it's like, yes, that takes a lot of coordination, but my biggest thing was, if you're watching the movie, you're not thinking that.
No. But also at that point, we had seen 2 big blockbuster movies show the case of the villain being captured at the midpoint of the movie, and it's all part of his plan leading up to the third act. The Joker had done in The Dark Knight, and Loki had already done in Avengers. And so, him being captured halfway through the movie, I'm like, oh, I bet this is part of his plan.
Well, okay, you just ruined that part for me too. I never thought about that.
I don't mean to. I knew this was going to be a controversial episode to begin with. I knew I didn't want to come off sounding like such a negative Nancy, because I do enjoy this movie.
Right.
It's just, when you stop and think about it, that's when my eyebrows start to raise.
Right, but unlike Loki and the Joker, we kind of needed that scene to really understand why the hell this guy's doing what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
You really needed something for him to be like, oh my god, I can kind of understand why he's all messed up now.
But I think like that exposition could have handled that scene previous, when Bond is Bond.
There's a lot of other tension stuff going on there.
Yeah, but I think they wanted to have Judi Dench and Javier Bardem have a scene face to face before the climax of the movie.
Right.
So that's probably maybe just from a screenplay structure's point, that's why they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like, and it was one of those things that like, what was it? Something else that really bothered me right at that moment. I'm like, okay, so you have contingencies upon contingencies just in case you're followed, especially if it's Bond, if you haven't killed him at this point. If you're coming from his perspective planning this.
Right.
So you've done this, it's probably years of planning. So just for you to kick in the door and unload your Glock into it, and you realize, maybe I should have thrown a grenade instead.
Or maybe I should just,
blown up the building.
Blown up the building.
I know it's supposed to be dramatic. It's meant for the tension of that movie, but it's just one of those things like, pop, pop, pop. Oh my god, Voldemort with the nose is firing at me, and James Bond is shooting fire extinguishers. I probably should get out of here. And then you bounce like a booty out of there. And,
oh my god, it is Voldemort with the nose.
Yeah, Ray Fiennes.
Yeah.
I love how we identified it as he's Voldemort, but with a nose.
And a tan.
And people who think of Ray Fiennes' performance as Voldemort and his as evil villain, no, watch Schindler's List. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, you just had to go there.
What? You're giving him hope, Oscar. That's cruel. Schindler's List review coming soon.
Oh god.
It'd just be us crying. You could have got 2 more lives. And then with the data, Steven Spielberg on his screen. Oh my god! The little kid in the booth trying to hide, and he can't hide it.
And the girl in the red dress. What does it mean?
Oh man, that'll be a real tear-jerker of an episode.
God, yes.
And then I'll do something really inappropriate the next episode following up, is make fun of dead wrestlers or something like that, which I was doing the other night. I'll tell you about off mic. So
this isn't the first time my eating habits got me in trouble. Peter Griffin eating chips with the Frank family.
Oh boy, woo! Oh boy. Yeah, is it hot in here or is it just me? Anyway.
It's because I'm in the room.
That's debatable. Anyway.
I rub baby oil on these apps every day.
I'm kind of dumbfounded at this point. So, Vaseline instead. Yeah, so let's talk about the characters. Let's talk about the characters before we start breaking down plot beats and stuff like that.
Okay.
Daniel Craig's performance. What do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I think he did well.
Yeah, I think this is him firing all cylinders.
I think so too.
Nothing to take away from his first 2 performances in the other movies. I feel like he's like the first movie. He's a blunt object.
Yes.
And that's how he plays it.
Yeah.
Second one, he starts to get finer and like starts to realize a few more things. Even though that movie is rough around the edges, this one he is silky smooth.
Yes,
when it comes to the performance of him,
I think it was very well directed. His direction throughout the movie was very well done, and he really got into character for this.
And then you have Judi Dench, who gave like her best performance as M in any of the movies.
Well, it was also the most we ever saw her as M in a single movie.
Yeah, I think like the only other one that probably saw more of her was maybe World's Not Enough.
Maybe, yeah.
And like she was part of that plot as well.
Because a lot of the other movies, I think Casino Royale, we saw her a good amount too.
Yeah,
but all the other James Bond movies, they played her like M in the older movies, where it's like, okay, you have 5 minutes of screen time. Here's your paycheck. Thank you very much.
Right. And since Judi Dench is a fantastic actress, they gave her a lot to do in this movie, dealing with guilt and how she fits in to James Bond's life, as well as the espionage world at that point. And the themes for at least Skyfall and Spectre, both directed by Sam Mendes, so I feel like this is a point he's trying to get across, that there's a need for James Bond.
Yes.
That even despite the fact that he may be outdated on paper, the line is like, there still needs to be trigger pulled at least at times.
Yes.
And even Q makes that remark, I could do more damage with my laptop in my pajamas in the morning before you pulling a trigger.
Right.
And so, but you still need that person to do that from time to time within this world. And Judi Dench is there to validate that at that point. That's what a lot of the theme of this movie is, saying that despite how technology goes, it still comes down to people fighting people, and having a blunt object like Bond is there as necessity.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously drone strikes can happen whenever, but you do need that person that can go in there stealthily, pop, walk away.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's brought up even further in Spectre,
right? Which
you haven't seen yet.
I have not seen Spectre yet.
Which I think Vicky and I may do an espionage podcast near the end of the year, because we'll talk. Because her and I saw 3 of the big 4 espionage movies this year: Kingsman, Man from U.N.C.L.E., and Spectre together.
Right.
And I saw Mission Impossible with another coworker. And
oh wow, I didn't realize there was that many espionage movies.
Yeah, Man from U.N.C.L.E. was.
I mean, the outlier out of all those is Kingsman.
Yeah, out of all of them, most original wise, that goes to that.
Yeah.
Big spectacles may go to Mission Impossible.
Yes.
Love letters to the series, Man from U.N.C.L.E. And to espionage movies, and Henry Cavill could. Sorry, going off the tangent here, but Henry Cavill, who's playing Superman currently, he could play James Bond.
You think so?
Oh God, yeah. Just seeing him, but him doing an American accent, but him in the suit, I'm just I'm watching him I'm falling in love with this guy. What? No, no, I'm not going to do this, no. And just since he's British anyway, I could totally see that happening. Anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Back to this.
Skyfall. Moneypenny. Feelings. Tread softly here.
I liked her as a character up until they revealed that she was Moneypenny. And then I was pissed off.
Why?
Because it's she was in the field, she was sassy, she was actually smart. Yeah, the opening she was a little riled, but in general she helped him bond out a lot in the field and everything like that. And at the very end, she just says, "You know what? I'm just going to take a desk job and be sassy." It's what was all that character build up then?
Well, this is the rebooted storyline. This is the rebooted.
Yeah, but if you're gonna have a Moneypenny, don't just slap her in front of a desk.
What do you mean? What?
She got Bond. I mean, obviously she shot Bond, but then she also redeemed herself for that mistake throughout the movie.
Right.
She helped him get in and out of that casino. She was there to, relay intel and all that other stuff throughout the movie. And then at the very end, she's like, "I'm just going to sit at this desk and flirt with you whenever you come into this office." No!
No!
No! No!
And it is also kind of hard to believe that her name was never mentioned throughout the entire time they were together. Like, what if he had to get her attention? Like, you! I don't know your name.
Woman!
half the bar turns around like, no, not you. The one in the dress.
Cock teaser, come here.
And then he gets punched for the sexist comments.
Well, no, I mean, come on. I mean, when she was shaving him with the...
Oh, yeah, that's like the Moneypenny flirtation to the nth degree.
That was so erotic and great. And
yes, but it's not as bad as wearing virtual reality glasses and like making out with like air.
We're gonna pretend that movie doesn't exist.
John Cleese likes to pretend it doesn't exist.
It was a paycheck along with me and Harry Potter.
But so then we get to Javier Bardem, Mr. Silva, and that he's a former MI6 agent who has a big grudge with M, and how, like we said before, abandoned in a mission, and he had a cyanide pill hidden in one of his teeth, cracked it in the attempt to kill himself, but it didn't work. It just burned the inside of his face and throat. So much so that he has to have dentures to keep his face together.
Yeah.
Which is creepy.
That scene made me go, oh!
Have you seen cyanide due to a face? Another thing about Oz Trail is they always see the fake credits of the people, and they're like, Gollum! They show his face sunken in with that eyeball that kind of hanging out. And his whole point is that he was pushed over in respect, like, to respond to like that, and like he was saying that he was no longer needed, and he was going to get back at her once he had escaped. Now, somebody on a website, I think Haphazard Stuff, who does really good in-depth James Bond reviews, check him out. I believe that's his website, haphazardstuff.com. And he does great breakdowns.
Is that the one where he synced together Daniel Craig and Pierce Brosnan?
Yes.
That was very well done.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm pretty sure he's one of, like, I think he did like a video about Skyfall once it came out, bringing this up, that Pierce Brosnan didn't go quietly into the night when he was fired from the James Bond role. Even,
if you ever watch, which I suggest everyone does, Everything or Nothing.
The documentary, right?
Documentary.
Mm-hmm.
They talk to Pierce Brosnan, which great documentary. This is like how documentaries should be.
Yes.
They do interview Pierce Brosnan, and he had a good chunk because they interviewed him when Timothy Dalton took over the role. And then they interviewed him when he got the role, and then when he got fired.
Right.
And when he got fired...
Timothy Dalton took the role. Yes, I am James Bond. Sorry.
I love Timothy Dalton.
Oh, Living Daylights and License to Kill. Fantastic.
It's another show, though. It's a totally another show. But yeah,
I'm a slasher. Of prices. See you later.
But yeah, no, Pierce Brosnan was beyond pissed off, and he, just bashed the entire... Eon?
Yeah, Eon Productions.
Which stands for Everything or Nothing.
Yeah. And Haphazard Stuff brought up this point, like, Pierce Brosnan was James Bond, fired, and did, like, some, like, kind of dickish things in the press to badmouth the productions. Silva was an MI6 agent abandoned by the company, and he plots his revenge against him.
Why do you do this to me? I never put this together.
This is not my idea. Check out haphazardstuff.com, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who brought me up about it. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm like, holy crap. That's why I give the more movie respect about that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a backhanded slap at Pierce when he doesn't realize it. When he's singing Mamma Mia to himself. When you're gone, how can I keep it gone?
This is the first movie I haven't shot that I wasn't blowing up or banging bitches in.
Maybe I should be living here. So, having that in mind with this character does make him more interesting. And I think my favorite moment in the movie is like once Bond and M have retreated to Bond's old house or estate, Skyfall, which we've been hinting at the entire movie, where we reiterate that his parents died in a climbing accident, that Bond hid himself in a secret passageway under the house, Scooby-Doo style, for a couple days, and he came out a different person. And so M and the groundskeeper take the passageway, get out of there, and head to an old church, which is nearby. Silva follows him in pursuit, and he comes through the archway of the doorway, and like how his jacket is and how he looks like Count Orlok of Nosferatu, and like just fits the shape of the door, and just walks in. And I was like, "Oh, that's creepy." Just the sight alone.
Well, that whole scene was how he was. I mean, Judi Dench was shot at that point.
Yes,
and she was bleeding out, and just his action, how he was acting in that whole scene was
that he felt genuinely upset that she was hurt.
But it was very creepy, and you were sitting on your chair going like,
"What's he gonna do?"
You were like on edge, going, "How is this going to end?" Because I don't like where this is heading.
Yeah. And like some people could say they're disappointed that the main bad guy in Bond didn't have a fisticuffs ending, but that would have been a typical Bond ending.
Yeah, the way this ended was beautiful.
Being stabbed in the back by an agent of MI6.
Boosh.
With like a goddamn Bowie knife too. It was like a large hunting knife sticking out of the back of him.
No, my biggest thing where I actually had to think about was, how is Bond not dying of hypothermia right now? Because in the scene before, he was running across like a pond or a lake, and
that was frozen over,
gets shot up, flips into the water, kills a guy, and now he's stuck underneath the ice.
And he frees himself with a flare.
Yeah, and it's like,
you're in Scotland, probably in the middle of winter, so he's probably freezing out there to begin with.
He could probably have used his balls to chill his martini.
Yes. But also, we've bought Bond being transformed into a Japanese farmer played by a Scotsman.
Talk to me about that! What a word! Everything that happened to Roger Moore, okay, silly. But Sean Connery being an MI6 agent, being trained into a ninja, that's just
stupid.
Beyond stupid.
Yet we finally get to see Blofeld pretty much face to face for the first time with Donald Pleasence in that movie. Does it? Goodbye, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, but they changed Blofeld's actor like 15 times.
That's true. He never recognizes Bond.
Oh, it's you.
He does recognize him, but I love it on Her Majesty's Secret Service. They just pretend like they don't know each other.
Oh, hello, sir. Do I? Nope.
I don't recognize you because your voice is dubbed, so I can't understand you. And then I love On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but there are a few things that bother me in that movie.
There's a lot that bothers me. The ending is the only thing that saves that movie for me.
20 minutes can be cut out of that movie.
This is not Skyfall review. This is just James Bond at this point.
Well, no, it's still going to be Skyfall, but we're talking about an entry in a series that's ongoing. There's going to be discussion about the other ones. Like, we have a Harry Potter podcast, I should say, coming up. So the books and movies are going to be talked about, even though the subject matter could be one of those at the time.
Yes.
So, let's move on. Let's get
back on track.
Ray Fiennes, who goes on to becoming M after Judi Dench's character dies in Bond's arms, in a really nice way. Not a nice way, but it wasn't like curdling, death. It was a nice, just passed away. And Craig's performance there, while he's holding her, was really good.
No, I'm glad they treated it with some weight and some respect.
Yeah, it wasn't like Bambi, where they immediately transitioned. Happy. Yeah, like most awkward transition between scenes.
And then Bambi's got
Bambi and Thumper.
Thumper. I'm Bambi and I'm
Thumper. Just the animation podcast coming soon.
God.
So Ray Fiennes' character, who plays a friend, I forget the character's name and what his official position is, but he's a part of MI6.
Gareth Malroy.
That's why he becomes M afterwards, and he goes on to help represent and during her trial about the actions that happened in MI6, and he goes on to become M afterwards. I like the fact that he plays it it's not like he's the deepest character in the world. He just does it.
No.
He does this great job with the character, the material he's written. That he's not afraid to pick up a gun at one point, and that he's willing to bend the rules to help Bond if need be.
Yeah, Well, actually, there's a couple things about him becoming M, which I like. When they first introduced the character, he kind of came across as a dick and like, oh god.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's not, like, this guy's just going to be an ass and everything like that. But then you get to, as the movie progresses, it's all of a sudden like, he's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like this guy. And then obviously when you go into the giant office with like old school office where M was
with the leather padded door and everything like that.
So beautiful, such a great tribute back to the older movies.
Yes.
And it was just like, yes! And it's like, let's get to work. Yeah.
I just wish the file that he hands Bond, I wish it just said for your eyes only.
Oh.
I've been like, and then the theme comes up, and you're like, and everybody's clapping at that point. It ends really strong.
Yes.
That movie.
When I finally remembered when I saw this movie, I was up in college. It was in the middle of a snowstorm. My roommates and I, plus one of my roommate's girlfriends, were watching the movie. And when the movie ends, she was like, he can't be M. M is supposed to be a woman.
And Doctor Who can't be an old man either.
But I was like, M was a man for 90% of the series. You know that, right? But M stands for mother. No, it does not!
It was just for this movie.
M stands, when it was first created, M stands for major.
Yes. Q for quartermaster.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was just an abbreviation. It's not like mum or anything like that.
That was just she's going off of what, the old movie with Uma Thurman and the Avengers.
Oh, with Ray Fiennes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Wow.
M is for mother.
Yeah.
And like, no, M stands for major, but in this Daniel Craig's universe, it stands for their last name.
Right. No one should ever fear being wet.
Winking smile. Return.
Oh, that would be a lovely move to watch. I remember watching that as a kid. And even then, it looked cheap to me. I'm just like, what's wrong with this?
You did pick it up when they're all meeting a giant teddy bear outfit.
It's like Brazil.
Now I'm going to take off my head so you can identify me, but I still can't identify you. Where's the logic?
This is nearly the beginning. Keep the camera away from his crotch as much as possible, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so speaking of Q, what do you think of the new quartermaster of the Daniel Craig movies?
Well, at first,
yes,
I didn't know what to think about him.
Okay.
Obviously, having the old Q,
Desmond Llewellyn.
Yeah.
And John Cleese was not.
John Cleese was okay.
Yes.
He did the best he could.
With what he was given.
Yes. I mean, you can't really sell an invisible car any better than... I think you've been down here a bit too long, Q. Oh my god.
Until Batman v Superman comes out, they have one of them with the invisible plane. Maybe that'd be the only way to sell an invisible vehicle to an audience today.
But, Ben Whishaw, who plays Q, I think that was the best choice you could do. This young, geeky kid is just like, okay. He's like, yeah, I make cool shit. Yeah,
and he's definitely they kind of bang the theme over your head with, like, new is better, new is great, old is shite, and we should get rid of it. I tried to find that, it didn't work. I apologize.
Yeah, no, but yeah, they really were trying to drill that in because that was the theme of the movie where Bond is old.
Yes. Even though his career has only started a few years ago, if you want to count Casino Royale, the first mission, and Skyfall before Dr. No, and all the rest of the movies are now up to this, which I think is kind of silly because I think Daniel Craig's stuff is his own universe.
That's why I think Daniel Craig's
especially with the events of Spectre, kind of makes that.
Well, because look where M came in GoldenEye. And look where M was in Casino Royale.
Right.
Two very different M's.
Yes. Which makes the distinction really tough.
Yeah.
No,
she was the only link between old universe and new universe.
Yes.
And because it sounded like she was there from the Cold War.
Yes.
She was in charge and all that stuff. And in GoldenEye, she's brand new.
Yeah.
And she's brand new. She was not in charge during the Cold War.
Mm-hmm. Golden witness.
Golden
golden
No, but I would classify the Daniel Craig's movies as a different James Bond than Sean Connery, Roger Moore,
George Lazenby,
Timothy Dalton,
Pierce Brosnan.
I was hung up on George Lazenby.
Yeah, I know.
Who, by the way, is a terrific voice actor.
Yeah, especially in Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, he was amazing.
As what was he? He was the king.
He was king
of the Royal Flush Gang.
Oh my god, my favorite episodes in the Batman Beyond universe.
Oh yeah, he was fantastic. I think I told you about that.
You told me that he was playing King, and then that made those episodes even better.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's made his career outside of James Bond with voice acting. I know he's acted since then, but I think that's where he made his money.
In case you don't know, George Lazenby never acted before James Bond, and he tricked everyone into thinking that he was an actor.
I forget who called him out on it, though. I think it may have been the director.
He in Everything or Nothing, that documentary, he said that he went up to the director before they started shooting. He's like, I'm going to be honest with you. I never acted before. Okay. And the director laughed at him and said, you just fooled the biggest names in Hollywood. You're an actor.
Yeah. And then the events of his public persona at the point of the release, as well as getting bad advice.
He was getting horrible advice. It was like being told, like, yeah, they're controlling you. Like, it's not stylish to have no facial hair and, like, short hair, which that's what they wanted. So he decided to go to the premiere of On Her Majesty's Secret Service with long hair and a beard. And they fired him the day after the premiere. Yeah. And he does admit that it's the biggest regret in his life.
Because I feel like he deserved the second chance. But
yes, I could totally see him in one more James Bond movie.
I mean, we'll get on the Majesty. We're going to do an On Her Majesty's Secret Service review.
And probably just go down the entire list.
What?
Of James Bond movies.
Well, no. Well, yeah, because I want to give each movie its own attention, but like he didn't like. This is hindsight talking, but the '60s were defined by 3 Bs: Beatles, Batman, '66 series, and Bond.
Yes, I agree with that.
When it comes to pop culture, so I understand it's late '60s. That's probably
69.
69,
I believe so.
And because Diamonds Are Forever is 71. It's roughly 2 years between each movie. So if it's 1969, they obviously did not have the foresight to think that the movies would still be going on today. I mean, how could you? I mean, people probably, when they made the first X-Men, the 20th Century Fox was probably like, yeah, in 16 years, we're going to still be making movies about these silly characters that dress up in leather and such.
Yeah, right.
But, so with Q being like a young kind of hipstery dude, saying like new is good and everything like that, the banter between Bond and Q is just pure. That's pure Bond universe right there. What were you saying?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service came out in 1969.
Good pull for that right there.
There was a 6th one.
Yep. So having that, and even like going on back to my theory about like Eon kind of like beating down Pierce. What's it like? And I remember the final joke of that scene of when Q and Bond meet, and he's like, "We're not going to have you going out with an exploding pen now, are you?" And he leaves. I'm like, "Ooh, you're taking you're taking a Goldeneye." Probably one of the most tense scenes in that movie too.
But it was also that was so like overdone, that whole exploding pen thing. If you really
like, if you want to count those clicks, if you want to be that anal attentive about it, it probably doesn't match up.
Well, also, even Mythbusters went into the whole exploding pen mythos.
Yes,
it was like, oh my god, it was just one of those things. It was like, it's cool, but at the same time, it's like that's kind of silly.
Yeah, but also, haven't you stated before that Mythbusters have ruined movies for you?
So much.
And can you not turn your brain off when it comes to movies now?
Those bullets are flying through the water. That's not possible. They would break on impact.
For dramatic purposes, they will. I don't care.
But he's like 10 feet underwater. Someone standing like at that angle, shooting down, would never touch him. It would just explode.
I don't care if the bullets were bouncing off the moon and coming at him. I don't care as long as it's working for the dramatic purpose of the scene. I'll buy it.
By the way, Mythbusters is officially going out.
on
next starting in January is their final season.
Have they announced what they're going to be doing?
No.
Damn. It's got to be something big. They got to go out on a big note.
I mean, for me, what ruined the series is, one, the B team, which they got rid of to try to save the series, which didn't work. And two, how over-scripted it was.
Okay.
And three, just the fact that when you don't actually not seeing them build anything.
Yeah. They
stopped showing that, and they stopped showing the arguments between Jamie and Adam.
Right. And like,
which in the earlier seasons, that was the coolest part of them building it, and then also the brainstorming between the two was just
not there anymore.
That's what made the show, and then they just took that out, slapped the B team in, just made everything explode, and it's like, okay, do I really is there really a myth about using dynamite to tenderize beef? Seriously, that was an episode.
Now, like you're saying, like the show lost its focus and lost the true purpose of it, kind of like how Bond did for a little while.
Thank you for tying this back.
Oh no, don't worry. I was like, I gotta reel this back in somehow.
Quickly,
I'm losing line. I gotta do something about it. And so Bond goes on his mission after giving his gear, which is pretty much a palm rider for his gun, which is pretty much it's a gadget from License to Kill when he has that one gun.
It looks like it too,
and it has the little radio transmitter to go with it. Which also another thing with Honest Trailers made fun of. Smaller than the one he used in From Russia with Love. I mean, the From Russia with Love one is smaller than the one that used in Skyfall.
It was only about an inch.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like it's like put in your shoe or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, new gadget. It's called radio. I don't know why really bad accent.
It's 1965 or something like that.
Yeah, at that point, pretty much. But so
something like Google.
Yeah. So, but this one character in there that's kind of she didn't cause controversy, but the events that happened are kind of caused controversy. 63. The woman who is the contact, well, not like a person who works for Silva, and I forget the character's name.
Severine,
who she admits to Bond that she's a former sex slave and was in the sex trade against her will and stuff like that. And then Bond kind of jumps in the shower with her and kind of raises moral and ethical questions.
He sneaks onto the yacht, doesn't make his presence known until he appears naked in the shower with her, and she's like, "Oh, I'm totally down to bang."
I'm like, thank God she wasn't keeping it waiting for one of the guards to join her instead.
Oh my God.
I mean, and how do the guards react when they both come out of the shower later?
Okay.
Jim, did you see Bond come on? No, I don't remember him coming on either. I think we're really terrible at our jobs.
If the boss doesn't realize, we're fine.
I think the boss is going to realize a 5'9" Aryan that's on the boat. Not making fun of Craig's looks or anything like that. He kicked both of her asses like that.
Heartbeat.
Oh yeah. So meets Silva, explains to him, and one other thing that I thought was a little interesting. Silva kind of hits on Bond.
I thought he was gay at first.
I think he is gay.
I know. He's beyond eccentric.
Yeah, I know that, and not to say that there's he's a bad guy, so of course he's a gay character. Not anything like that. But no, but it's one of those things that he's very very sensual and unbuttoning Bond's shirt.
There was a couple of moments where it's is he really hitting on Bond right now? Because if he was gay, this isn't the first time we've seen gay villains in the James Bond
Diamonds
universe.
Are Forever.
Yeah, but we never saw the main villain as a gay person, and it's he's hitting on Bond while he's tied into a chair.
Yeah, and it's just he makes a joke about new experiences, and Bond says, "Who says it's new?" And then he's like, "Oh." So then he raises more questions has Bond had a gay relationship?
Bond was involved in a honeypot.
Oh. Snowballing.
Hello, Putin. Let's get it on.
Where do you think that stain on Gorbachev's head came from?
It bumped into cum blast right on my head. But it was so hot and thick, it burned into my forehead.
It's kind of like that joke from Never Say Never Again. Like his urine's acidic and kills one of those guards. His semen burns the insides of all the girls he sleeps with. That's why they never come back. In any of the movies, they just die from internal bleeding. And
well, this is why there's not like 1,000 baby bonds running around.
Yeah, because they have an internal rot from his lung juice.
My semen's pH count is much higher than the average man's. Or bleach.
Oh, God. You get so much hate for this. I don't care.
That's like something they would put into a Pierce Brosnan movie.
Yeah, just put your back into it. He says that to her.
I know.
Around the bike. Oh my God. But also, like, that one scene, like, with Halle Berry and sex, like, Halle Berry, like, orgasms. Now, he has not been with a woman in, like, 18 months. And I know on another commentary podcast, Duncan Casey, friends with Oliver Harper, he said during the Die Another Day podcast, it's like, I'm surprised he didn't shoot across the room when he was done. No one's like, imagine how scary a movie played out. Like, having her, like, wire flew across the room to see Halle Berry do that.
I think it's actually, that wasn't what I was really worried about. It's Pierce Brosnan the next morning, butt-ass naked, getting up to use binoculars to see what the hell's going on outside. He's standing there, and you're like, that's an old man being perfectly naked in the islands. Someone's gonna be like, ew, what is he doing?
Don't worry about it. You like what you see?
I like to keep my tip up.
Oh my God, there's so many points. I got the point the first time. They don't have to keep beating over our heads or they stick it in and break it off with you with those jokes. So Skyfall. So the charts say...
If you're still listening, we applaud you.
Yes, I'm going to be like, I'll probably be the only one to make it through to listen to this back at work the following day. So, all the main characters being talked about. And, like, Serene, like, I just kind of feel bad that she was there just to deliver exposition and then show how cruel Silva is. And she dies by his hands by, like I am this contest, like, trying to shoot a shot glass off her head. And he, like, Silva doesn't even bother. He just shoots her in the head. Mm-hmm. And Bond has, like, the worst, like, line after. Like, it's a waste of good scotch. Like, he doesn't care that there's a bullet lodged into her brain right now.
Actually, I disagree with you on that one.
What?
He knows his shot is bad.
Yeah.
So that's why he purposely missed. But then when Silva just... I think it was just also the reality of just... Holy shit.
Right.
So he say something like dark humor just
to
to kind of like I'm preventing myself from screaming right now. So waste of good scotch.
And then he pulls pretty much a Jason Bourne and takes out the 4 guards surrounding
them.
And
then the stupidest moment of this whole movie, the helicopters fly in out of nowhere.
They made no
sound, and they play the James Bond music. And at that point, I was saying, the movie over?
Yeah, you pay $13 for an hour and 10-minute James Bond movie.
Like, you got to this point, the movie's over? They had the villain.
Yeah, I know. And then you're like, he's in the prison. You're like, oh.
In the prison, Hannibal Lecter style.
Like, he's just like part of like Javier Bardem's performance is a little hammy, but all Bond villains are hammy to an extent.
I think because he was so eccentric.
Yeah. I mean, now think of it this way. Roger Deakins, who photographed No Country for Old Men, which Javier Bardem won the Best Supporting Actor for Anton Chigurh, which is an eccentric character, but very different, very cold, and very calculating.
Yes. I wouldn't even say he was eccentric in that movie.
Well, like, the few interactions that he has, and, like, especially the scene with him and Woody Harrelson, like, he's smiling during that conversation, you're just like, alright, maybe eccentric's not the right word to use.
I would say it was, but yeah, cold and calculating and dark humored, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, the whole Lucky Coin thing at the gas station.
Just to mess with him. And then
keep that coin. It's lucky. Or maybe just throw away with the other coins because that's what it is.
Yeah, and like everything is nothing. And it pretty much has an existential debate with the owner of this gas station over a coin.
Yeah, it was like...
And that guy probably went home like afterwards a changed man.
The only thing I have to say, just real quick, I know we're off track again. the thing that they used to
the cattle prod thing.
Cattle prod thing.
Not the cattle prod, like the
shoots up. It shoots a piston out to kill a cow.
Yes.
Wouldn't it fly out of your hand?
No, because
it's only a rod. You're holding it on your hand with like a rod, like a microphone, and then a giant piston has enough force to pop out through a cow's skull.
Yeah. Every
action has an equal and opposite reaction. How strong is your grip on that thing?
I think the mechanism probably pulls it in more rather than like it's probably like the force. It probably gives you a jolt. You have to hold on to it.
Yeah.
It could probably just fly out of your hand if you're not holding it properly. I've never killed a cow, so I can't really say.
I never did either, but that was the only thought in that movie. Where it's like, wouldn't that just fly out of his hand?
The only other problem people like brought up, like it's supposed to be 1988, using guns from the late 1980s, and I'm like, that's a real technical thing. Only gunheads that can really notice that.
Silencer for a shotgun too.
I'll buy that. It'd be useless after the first round. It'd probably be torn out. Yeah, the silencer goes flying. It impales the victim. And now he's screaming because there's a piece of metal shrapnel ripping up his insides, kind of like how Bond Seaman is to all the women he slept with.
Mr. Bond, you make me feel so hollow on the inside now. What the hell is going on?
She's melting like the Wicked Witch. What a world! Now, upon retrospect, now that after you've seen it, a few years have gone by, what are your feelings on the movie now?
Okay, so my first knee-jerk reaction was it was like the second best Bond movie. It's in my top 5.
Okay.
I would still think it's a really enjoyable Bond movie. It does a lot of things differently.
Okay.
Is it Daniel Craig's best movie? The best Daniel Craig James Bond movie? No.
Okay.
Casino Royale is still by far the best best Daniel Craig James Bond movie.
Okay.
I mean, I would put it in my top 5.
Hmm.
I mean, From Russia with Love, Casino Royale, maybe number 3 at Skyfall. But it's up there.
Okay.
And shameless plug-in, I did list all...
But before you go any further, would you look upon that retrospect of that list? Would you move things around?
Yeah, I would move. There would be some movement, but not much movement.
Okay, where can they find that?
So go to Deviantart.com. I'm under DW Drawings. I do the worst to best James Bond movie. It's an extensive list of every single James Bond movie up to Skyfall, with the placement of each James Bond movie in my top 23, 24?
24.
24.
Yeah. No, 23, because Spectre, I think, was 24. Next one will be 25.
Alright, so yeah, top 10 worst, 3 okays, and then top 10 best.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Which I'll put the link in the description box below.
Thank you.
No problem. Upon retrospect, negative feelings aside, I still enjoy it. Like I said, once you're watching the movie, even though I made the jokes that's like so much like GoldenEye or Mission Impossible or Home Alone in the end, I still enjoy it. The action, it's not the best action in the world. It's serviceable. But then again, that's like Sam Mendes' first action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Spectre, I think, has the action scenes I think he felt a little more better handled of.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying, I'm praising Roger Deakins' performance behind the camera, and I'm like, it was the first Bond to be shot digitally.
Right.
They've gone back to film for Spectre,
okay.
and then not just film, they shot anamorphic widescreen, true widescreen, Panavision. And it's just one of those things that I brought up, like, is this going to be the last, is this going to be, like, no other Bond movie going to be shot on film? But now there's been so many people trying to resurrect it and keep it alive, I feel like Bond will stay the same way. I hope it does anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But also production design is really good. I like the performances really stand out for me.
Yes. The
music is nothing really jumps out to me. It's like I'm not going to put on the Skyfall soundtrack, like the actual score that Thomas Newman did, and I'm not going to listen to that in the background. All right, let's talk about Adele's theme song, Skyfall.
Yes. That is probably the best opening so far that I know of. For the Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig's. It's in my top 5 scores. My top 5 themes.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those theme songs that transcends the movie.
Okay.
like
it's like Live and Let Die.
Or Nobody Does It Better Than You.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that you can put on and it's an enjoyable song.
Mm-hmm.
Or A View to a Kill. Like Duran Duran's like, dance into the light. Like that, like we name that. That's probably our, like, probably the, like, best Bond themes because they can, out of context, can still work.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, like Thunderball, you put that on.
And he strikes
like
Thunderball.
Pass out.
Even Tom Jones was like, I have no idea what Thunderball is.
Dun, 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 dun. You gotta throw it. It's not unusual. Once that's over, what's new,
Pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa!
And that's when the overworked person with the third coffee finally snaps.
Yeah, same shit. Oh gosh.
We're slowly descending into madness here.
No, but Adele's theme song is it's very good.
And the opening credits too.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. My favorite opening of all time has to be Casino Royale.
Like as in like the opening credits?
Opening credits.
Okay. Because it
with the theme music, which is I believe is so horribly underrated.
It's Chris Cornell.
You Know My Name. Or
something. You Will Know My Name. Right. Okay.
It mixed with everything being shot with just the spade, clubs, diamond, hearts, like a deck of cards. Mm-hmm. Everything visually put together like that. It is so cool.
Oh yeah,
and it gets you pumped for this movie.
Versus Quantum of Solace, even though I like the Jack White and Alicia Keys.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's a very disjointed song.
It's a very disjointed song, and the opening was kind of like it just dragged.
And it's like Another Way to Die. I think that's the name of the song, Another Way to Die.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things, like either you love it or hate it.
Yeah.
It's one of those songs. It's not like a lot of people can listen to, say, even Garbage's World Is Not Enough, which I really enjoy.
I think she sounds like she's yawning.
I'm not going to let you hear that now. And the name of the band, somebody could probably sum up their feelings towards the song. Garbage.
Yeah.
That's how I should end the episode there, with just that one joke. So Adele's song, I remember I was moving in, I think like the semester after. No, it was the following year, because that came out over the summer between my first and second semester in Oswego. In 2013, fall 2013, I'm moving in, and some guy like 2 doors down, like I just hear, this is the end, echo throughout. I'm just like, I poke my head, I'm like, it's a James Bond song. And it's echo throughout the dorm, and I'm like, that's a really good song. And it's, Adele's singing on it is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, like, it's, I mean, how many artists were there that done James Bond theme songs that are only known for the theme?
I don't know.
Like, Garbage to most people, like, band Garbage.
I think, well, they do get a lot of, like, established singers and bands to do the opening.
It's not like they've taken this, like, garage band and, like, having them do it or anything like that, but it's like,
not like Dr. No.
Oh.
Dr. No was just some Jamaican band that
just
three blind mice, and they brought in some homeless guy that had a guitar to do the paid him $20 and then he was on his way. Never got his name or anything.
Kind of like the guy who did the Nike swoosh, the guy who designed that logo.
Yeah.
He was paid like what, $50 or
something stupid,
and didn't get his copyright or anything like that. Now look at it. Probably die wearing Nike shoes. Final synopsis. He was trying to like move and like keep him still. No, take these shoes off. I'm not dying with them on me.
No. Give me Adidas or Reebok, not Nike.
Give me the Run DMC Reebok, full Reebok suit. That's how I want to be buried in.
But right outside his hospice window is just a giant "Just Do It" billboard. Fuck you, Nike.
Jumps out the window. Ivy still connected.
Nurse, open my window for the last time. Sure. God damn it.
Is this better? Just dives right past her. So
back to the subject matter at hand.
But that's, I think, like, if we're entertaining enough, I think all people will care. If we have these tangents. I find it to be enjoyable.
I'm enjoying this a lot.
I mean, hell, Mike and I were talking about, like, doing our own commentaries to bad WWE pay-per-views. And just us making fun of it. It was just a laugh riot last night watching an old WCW pay-per-view. But, so, like, on retrospect, I love the song. I do enjoy the movie, despite its flaws and despite me taking the piss out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know people are like, oh my god, it's the best one ever.
It's good, but I still think the best James Bond movie ever was From Russia with Love.
I do consider that the best, but if it's like between that and License to Kill to put on, I'm putting on License to Kill.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, one's just more espionage than the other.
Yeah.
Like true Cold War espionage is From Russia with Love.
Yeah, like the first one's almost like a murder mystery. Dr. No.
Yes.
It ends up being like a nuclear threat.
Because that was an internal affair in that one. Because Strangway is our MI6 agent in the
Bahamas.
Yeah, Bahamas. He's not responding. Bond.
Go check it out. And he uncovers that plot.
Yeah, he's dead. Why is he dead? I'll check into it. They're trying to blow up some rockets.
Somebody said, like, it's a Law and Order episode, practically. Well, I guess he should have quit while he was ahead.
Need to go to the embassy.
Embassy, 3:04 p.m. No, Bond, I'm not giving you jurisdiction. I need a warrant to go in there and search for the killer. I have probable cause.
I think it's time to pay the doctor a visit. Doctor's office.
Everything will be shot handheld. And there'll be other actors from The Sopranos to show up before they're famous. Yeah, then From Russia with Love is an espionage movie. Goldfinger, it's a Bond movie.
That's a Bond movie.
And then they try and do a Bond movie again for Thunderball.
Thunderball is actually...
I'll put on Never Say Never Again more quicker than I put on Thunderball. I know I enjoy the pace better. I know, I'll probably ostracize as a James Bond fan, but...
You have Mr. Bean in Never Say Never Again.
And I might as well watch a slow motion fight underwater between they're like... It
was 1964!
Yeah, the underwater photography was better. They had Kim Basinger dancing with Sean Connery, which is so awkward but hilarious at the same time.
That was really her?
Yeah, that was I'm pretty sure that's pre-Batman Kim Basinger.
She was banging Sean Connery.
Yes. And then she went for a man shorter than her. For Batman, no wonder he hung himself upside down after he finished. And he let her into a Batcave, and I was his belfry.
Tell me I was the best you ever had. Well, there was just one girl in Philadelphia. Science! Come on, that has... Honestly, Never Say Never Again has the most awkward sex scene ever.
Yes.
In the submarine, and it keeps going back and forth. And it's like...
More awkward than Smart Never Dies, but like, hey, that ship is trying to rescue us. Let's have sex on the debris of the stealth ship. There's probably a jutted nails gonna stick into us in the midst of our coitus.
What else are you gonna do?
Get their attention, and then when I'm on the ship, then...
But Bond is notorious for whenever they're actually looking for him at the end of movies to signal for help, he rather screws the girl.
Yeah.
I mean, Goldfinger.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, I'm not done with you yet. Practically rapes her in that movie. I'm dead serious, in the barn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Pussy Galore?
Yeah, she's fighting him all the way until she's like, okay, fuck it.
What was that Family Guy joke? No, yes. No, yes. Okay. 15 no's and a yes. Means yes. And he gets Spy Love Me. Just keeping the British hand up, sir. Or my favorite, end joke. Good night. Good night. Good night, sir. Good click. Good night. Good night.
Or better, yeah. Oh my god.
This has decided just the James Bond podcast.
Most awkward sex scenes in Bond.
Javon?
James Bond.
Jumanji?
Bond and
Mayday.
Oh, that was awkward. He's just randomly naked in her bed, and he kind of pays for it.
Yes.
Him and Crispus Jones, the Heat.
I thought Crispus would have came once a year.
No, how they're like looking. Oh, well, there's Bond. Oh, let's use this thermal imaging camera to find him. Oh, there's him. But where's Crispus Jones?
It's getting better.
Oh,
007 click.
Or even in GoldenEye, he was going to pull a Goldfinger on her, and hey Jimbo, you ready? Got the Marines here. Helicopters come out of nowhere. It's like you never heard them.
Go Marines!
One thing in the James Bond franchise, helicopters make no sound.
No. I'm thinking about it. Like, what other big helicopter stunts are there? Yeah, I can see that. Kind of like the helicopter that shows up. Bond gets into that helicopter for your eyes only. Or yeah. I'm a little tied up. Yeah, never mind.
That was an intense scene.
Oh, I love that scene. I love that in GoldenEye when he's trying to get out of the stealth helicopter. The things we do for frequent flyer miles. Anyway.
Your Pierce Brosnan impression is horrific.
I know. Yes, I know. I'm just going to keep doing it until somebody tells you to shut the fuck up. So, people who are maybe not into James Bond, and they see this one on the top of the charts, like, okay, would you just recommend to see this movie at all?
Yes, I would recommend to see it. First Bond movie you ever see? No.
Well, all right. What would be your introduction Bond movie?
For me, it would be either Dr. No, From Russia with Love, or Casino Royale.
Not Goldfinger?
Maybe Goldfinger. Anything Sean no, that's most. No, I can't even say that. The first 3 Sean Connery movies.
I'm trying to think. What's her name in Diamonds Are Forever? Oh, I'm easy, but of course you are. Easy.
No. I'm Plenty.
Oh, Plenty. Oh, well, of course you are.
Of course you are. She practically is falling out of her dress.
Plenty O'Toole. Named after your father.
Nice shot. Didn't know there was a pool down there.
Yeah, so this is not the first Bond to see, but definitely one. Take into the fact that it's probably one of the best Bond movies.
Yes.
So don't be intimidated by it. See it before Spectre because it does play into it. I know you haven't seen Spectre yet.
Yeah, well, it probably helps. Would it help to see all the Daniel Craig movies before Spectre?
Yes.
Because each one does link to each other.
Yes. So, anyway, I highly recommend this movie. So check it out, everybody. Now, Dakota, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they go to follow you?
I do have a Twitter. I don't use it too much.
Yes. At least you're honest about that.
Yeah, let me pull it up just to let you know what Twitter handle is.
In the meantime, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at Timothy Rooney 2. And you can follow my YouTube page, Through the Lens Productions, where my latest short film, Halloween Reborn, which is a Halloween fan film, which came out this year's Halloween of 2015, which Dakota helped me out with.
Yes, it did.
And you can follow my Facebook page of the same production name, Through the Lens Productions, on Facebook. You'll find it. Now, what is your Twitter handle?
It's at Dakota Wiegand.
That's really, you know what? Riveting. I'm glad you remembered that. I'm surprised. You couldn't recall that, really. I've been to Mars before, but I do not recall it. Anyway, so...
Or follow me on Instagram, dwegan91, which I do post a lot of other stuff on, or on Deviantart at DW Drawings.
Which you also do reviews, your own,
yeah,
right?
I do a lot of cartoon reviews, some movie reviews, like James Bond series, mainly cartoon reviews, which I sacrifice my sanity to make a good review.
My sacrifice! Oh, yeah.
You You tried watching Static Shock from episode 1 to the last episode.
No, I just let get yourself into those situations that I laugh at your pain and anguish as you try to finish them like Sailor Moon.
Oh my god, don't remind me of Sailor Moon.
Sailor Moon, da-da-da.
They changed her voice like 6 times in the first 3 seasons. It's so bad they can't even keep a single voice actor for the person.
Anyway, I hope everybody's enjoyed this podcast about Skyfall, and we'll be talking to you soon. Hopefully about Harry Potter and many other things.
Please don't keep me off this show for as long as you did.
No. Mike and I were talking about our, this may be a controversial podcast, the top 5 or top 10 worst fans.
Ooh.
Worst fan groups. So you have that to look forward to if that comes about.
Okay.
Hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll see you soon.
Bye!